I said I'd try and stay away from him, but he wouldn't have it that way. When he put his hands on Mark, that was it as far as I was concerned. I don't let any man do that, not even for you.
You will never forget Lucas McCain if you were exposed to classic westerns at a young age. The iconic macho actor was brilliantly depicted by Chuck Connors in the film The Rifleman. Chuck Connor held many secrets from the world behind those grins. In today's film, we see the guy behind the scenes. There were speculations about his marital status, political leanings, and early professional baseball career. We are ravenous for the revelation of the truth. Come with us as we reveal Chuck Connors' life story. It deviated from the usual Sunday. Marcella, formerly Londrigan, and Alban Francis Allen Connors, a young immigrant couple, had a baby son that specific Sunday. Their first child, a son, was born to these young Irish immigrants from Newfoundland and Labrador on April 10, 1921. He came into this world in Brooklyn, New York, as Kevin Joseph Connors. Nothing about that day hinted to the fact that the kid they were holding would go on to become the legendary Chuck Connors, a household name and awe-inspiring Hollywood star. Chuck Connors' father became a U.S. citizen in 1914 and was working as a longshoreman in Brooklyn in 1930, years before Chuck was born. Unfortunately for him, his mother had also become a citizen of the United States in 1917. 2 years after the first kid was born, they welcomed a daughter into their peaceful and contented family. Kevin Connors, as he was formerly known, came from a devout Christian household. Roman Catholicism ran in his family. He was an altar boy at Brooklyn's Basilica of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, where he often attended masses as a kid. He had a natural talent for sports and was heavily involved in extracurricular activities as a kid. As a talented athlete, he fell in love with baseball when he was a teenager. Being a diehard Dodgers fan, he secretly hoped that he might pursue his dream of being a professional athlete. Yes, he did. Still, destiny had other intentions. Mark it with a pin. The fact that Kevin Connors hated his name was something he kept hidden. In subsequent chapters, you will discover the reasons behind his transformation from Kevin to Chuck. Baseball and other sports were his life as a kid and adolescent, and he was a natural at them. Over time, Connors developed an athletic physique via his consistent engagement in sports. Over the years, he developed into a towering 6 feet 5 inch athlete with extraordinary field skills. These qualities helped him earn full athletic scholarships to 4-year universities. He attended the Brooklyn Preparatory Adelphi Academy on a full scholarship and graduated in 1939. More than 20 scholarship offers from universities continued to arrive for Connor even after he graduated. In the end, he settled on Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, as his preferred school. There, he participated in baseball and basketball. Do you ever want to know why Kevin Connors became Chuck Connors and when it happened? He chose Chuck as his new name when enrolled at Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, rather than Kevin. For as long as he could remember, Connors had a hidden disdain for the name Kevin and had wished for a change. Chuck was his last choice after he rejected Lefty and Stretch as potential names. Chuck Connor later provided a more satisfactory explanation for wanting to be called Chuck in 1980. He said, "They called me Chuck when I started playing baseball because they thought Kevin was effeminate." This nickname stuck because during his time at Seton Hall baseball, he would chant the phrase to the pitcher before each game, "Chuck it to me, baby, chuck it to me." I suppose the original Chuck Connors, played by Wallace Beery in the 1933 film The Bowery, was the inspiration for the name Chuck Connors. Perhaps the real-life Chuck Connors recognized aspects of himself in the fictional character, who was shown as a demanding and politically savvy boss. The parallels were certainly not implausible. Even the Scouts couldn't get enough of Connors at that stage in his life, when he was a teenager turning into an adult and a great baseball player. Connors never failed to stand out, and eventually, his hard work and discipline paid off. He caught the eye of professional scouts, and in 1940, at the age of 19, he was drafted by the Brooklyn Dodgers. Regrettably, his dream didn't last. He didn't make it to their major league roster, But he didn't give up hope entirely. He went on to play for the Boston Celtics basketball team. Although Chuck Connor's life started to take an unexpected turn, he remained firmly planted on the ground by honoring the 2-year contract with Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, where he studied and played professional baseball and basketball for the school team. At Fort Knox, Connors opted to enlist on October 10, 1942, the day America joined World War II. Was his decision to go to war based on any genuine considerations? If he had tragically died in battle, we wouldn't be discussing him now, would we? Connors began his military career at Camp Campbell, Kentucky, and was later transferred to West Point, New York. During his time there, he was reportedly a tank instructor. Despite his military duties, Connors' passion for sports and his ability to coach others persisted. Rumor has it that he played professional basketball during the winter months at West Point and semi-professional baseball during the summer. It was said that Connor personally trained Doc Blanchard and Glenn Davis, 2 Army football MVPs who led the team to consecutive 1944 and 1945 national championships. Connors did more than just coach others to success. He consistently fanned the flames for himself, too. While at West Point, he coached himself to achieve his own sporting goals. After serving for nearly 4 years, Chuck Connors was finally dismissed from the Army on February 19, 1946. As soon as he was discharged from the Army, Chuck Connors dove headfirst into baseball, a sport he loved. Despite being a professional basketball player and a great baseman and pinch hitter, he returned to the Newport News Dodgers, a minor league affiliate of the baseball club he had left before the war, Piedmont League, in 1946. From 1947 to 1952, he played in 3 more leagues, with the Mobile Bears, the Montreal Royals, and the Los Angeles Angels. In hindsight, Connors remarked in 1954, "Greatest break I ever got," reflecting on the time when he was hired for his first film role in a sports-themed film while still playing baseball for the Los Angeles Angels in 1952. Connors had initially viewed his trade as a setback, but he later came to recognize it as a blessing. "I'm smack dab in the thick of it in the film industry, where any good-looking guy can break in." At the same time, Connors played in the 1945-1946 NBA championship season with the National Basketball League's Rochester Royals, now the Sacramento Kings. He signed up with the NBA's brand-new Boston Celtics for the 1946-1947 season. In 1946, while playing for the Boston Celtics, Connors made history by breaking a backboard. It was a shot, not a slam dunk, the kind that usually smashes the backboard in modern basketball, that he used during pregame practice before the Celtics' first home game of their debut season. He left the Bruins early in the 1947-48 season after appearing in 53 games. He is unique among American professional sportsmen in having played in both the NBA and Major League Baseball. Just 13 others have done so. Frank Baumholtz, Gene Conley, Dave DeBusschere, Dick Groat, Steve Hamilton, Mark Hendrickson, Cotton Nash, Ron Reed, Dick Ricketts, and Howie Schultz are the other 12. You see, Connor didn't limit himself to being an elite athlete on the baseball and basketball fields. Connors had been dabbling in acting long before he ever dreamed of landing a major role in Hollywood. The man was a treasure trove of ability. Its origins are quite ancient. Would you want to discover the origin story? Relax while I bring you to the very beginning. Chuck Connors' fascination in acting began while he was a student at South Orange, New Jersey's Seton Hall University. Despite being admitted to the school on a sports scholarship, Connors was more of a sports fan and enrolled as a major in English, demonstrating his serious commitment to his studies. The lessons he learned quickly improved his ability to speak in front of an audience. He entered an elocution contest during his first year of college and came out on top. Impressively reciting Vachel Lindsay's sonorous poem, Congo, he won first place. This victory sowed the germ of his love for theatrical performance and initially made him explore a career in acting. You know how life has a tendency of throwing unexpected curveballs at you? Oh, absolutely. Chuck Connors' first part in Hollywood came about as a result of that twist of fate. It just so happened that Connors was a baseball player for the Los Angeles Angels in 1952, a team located about 30 miles from Hollywood. Connors was cast in the comedy Pat and Mike, starring Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, the same year when an MGM casting director who was also a baseball enthusiast saw him. Thought he would portray a prizefighter, but Aldo Ray ended up getting the part. The state police department promoted Connors to the rank of captain. He briefly put a hold on his athletic duties and devoted full time to his acting career, which he soon gained popularity for, especially with his muscular and over 6-foot-tall physique. The next year, I had several offers for more acting opportunities. The realization that Connors' baseball career was entering its twilight stage started to sink in. Connors felt that acting would be the right move for his family. Therefore, he retired from baseball in February 1953. The same year, 1953, he took on 2 roles. He played the role of a defiant Marine private in the humorous war film South Sea Woman. Soon he took on the character Stan Schwegler in the movie Trouble Along the Way, which he played alongside the likes of John Wayne. It appeared like Connors had finally found his niche in Hollywood because he was cast in almost endless projects. In 1955, he appeared as the main character in the episode Flight to the North of Adventures of Superman. Connors had a rare comedic role in a 1955 episode, Flight to the North of Adventures of Superman. He portrayed Sylvester J. Superman, a lanky old-fashioned man who happened to answer a classified ad for the real Superman. In the following year, he was casted as Lou Brissy, a former professional baseball player wounded during World War II, in the 1956 episode The Comeback of the religion anthology series Crossroads. Concentrating more on honing his acting skills, Chuck Connors was found worthy once again of another prominent role. Luck shone on him again. In 1957, Disney reached out to him to play the role of Bern Sanderson in the Disney film Old Yeller. His life was transformed by the film. Like the saying goes, success happens when opportunity meets preparations. Connors brought and poured life, energy, and creativity into the role. His brilliant acting in the Old Yeller movie was so impressive that it became the catalyst that handed him the breakthrough movie that changed his career, The Rifleman. He was able to effortlessly floor 40 other actors vying for the character, Lucas McCain, in the movie The Rifleman. In the same year, 1957, Connors also featured in a Western thriller movie, The Hired Gun. He acted the character Jude Farrow, a ranch foreman who became the hero of a woman who was wrongly accused of killing her husband and was due to be the first woman to be hanged in Texas. He was a record-breaking basketball and baseball star and an exceptional actor on screen. Amidst the ambitious and driven side of Chuck Connors, there was also the lover boy side to the chiseled-chested, 6'5" big guy. Chuck fell in love with his first love, the beautiful Elizabeth Jane Riddell. Elizabeth had Chuck smitten. She was a Westmount model and an elegant bank manager's daughter. They met at one of his baseball games and tied the knot October 1, 1948. They were blessed with 4 sons: Michael, Jeffrey, Stephen, and Kevin. Chuck and Elizabeth raised their sons in a house in Woodland Hills, California, before they later moved to a ranch in Tehachapi, California, about 2.5 hours north of Los Angeles. But sadly, the love didn't last. 13 years after their union, they got divorced. According to Elizabeth's statement at the court, Chuck has been neglecting her and his family ever since he started gaining TV stardom. 2 years later, Chuck moved on. In 1963, 2 years after his divorce with his first wife, Connors married the gorgeous Indian-British actress Kamala Devi. They both met on set for the first time when they both co-starred in the movie Geronimo in 1962. In the movie, Devi played the love interest of Connors, and it seemed the romantic connection was maintained beyond the screen. A year later, they got wedded on Connors' 42nd birthday, April 10, 1963. The two enjoy great collaboration as actors and lovers, playing alongside each other in movies. They both featured in movies together like Flipper, Arrest and Trial, Broken Saber, and Cowboy in Africa, and Branded. It seemed that their love would last forever, as everyone around them could attest to how much they enjoyed each other's company. Soon, Devi started getting more roles, many thanks to her affiliation with her husband, or not. Also, during the period of their marital relationship, in 1966, Devi became an American citizen. Many believe it was due to Connors campaigning for Ronald Reagan's California gubernatorial campaign. Unfortunately, they got divorced in 1973, 9 years after. Though Connors spent so much of his life in the public eye, his private life seemed turbulent and unsettled. His first 2 marriages ended in divorce and heartbreaks. Although he did go on to find happiness and companionship again, his time as a family man was often marked with difficulty. Desperate to fill the hole in his heart, Connors was quick to fall in love again. His eyes caught the mesmeric Faith Quabius. He met Quabius for the first time when they both appeared in the film Soylent Green, 1973, and he couldn't get his eyes off her. They didn't make their dating status and romantic escapades known to the public eye. However, in 1977 they tied the knot. But it seemed that love wasn't just a thing Chuck Connors was able to either give well, receive well, or handle well. In 1979, Chuck and Faith got separated. Till date, there has not been any report of Connors and Devi and Connors and Quabius ever having a child or children. Fans had speculated about Connors' possibility of getting married the 4th time. When this question was brought up in an interview, his simple response was no, quoting an age-old baseball quip, 3 strikes and you're out. The Rifleman was Chuck Connors' biggest break as an actor. He was known for portraying a tough, rugged man of justice through the character called Lucas McCain. In the classic Western series, The Rifleman, Lucas, Chuck Connors, was a widowed rancher raising his young son in 1880s New Mexico territory. Lucas McCain was a crack shot with his customized Winchester rifle, but he only used it as a last resort. Each episode showed Lucas teaching his son Mark moral lessons and solving problems in their town peacefully through intelligence and courage. Viewers loved the father-son dynamic between Lucas and Mark. According to the movie, Lucas McCain, Chuck Connors, had 2 life missions: confronting and overcoming injustice with resolve, fair-mindedness and decency, and second, making a home for his young boy Mark, whose mother passed away. In the movie, both father and son settle on a ranch near the frontier town of North Fork and begin forging a life in the New Mexico territory. The casting of Johnny Crawford as young Mark was an inspired choice. The 2 actors, Crawford and Connors, developed a palpable and genuine chemistry playing father and son. Off-screen, Connors saw him as his son and would often inviting his young co-star to accompany him on camping trips with his own sons. The show first aired in 1958. At that period, Westerns were a popular genre. Despite that, The Rifleman stood out so much for the way it was exceptionally played, plus its great storyline. Lucas McCain became a household name and a hero figure. The movie was unique based on the fact that it featured more character development and family drama than typical guns and fights Westerns films. In addition to that, Chuck Connors was just the perfect person to play the role based on his looks and stature. In the movie, Lucas McCain was a complex hero trying to raise his son with strong moral values in a lawless land. The movie had a good run and aired for 5 seasons. The movie was the number 4 leading movie behind top hit Western series like Gunsmoke, Wagon Train, and Have Gun Will Travel. Sadly, by the end of the 62-63 season, the TV Western craze was starting to fade. This meant one thing: ratings would be dropping. The show was eventually stopped by the producers in 1963 after 5 seasons and 168 episodes. Once again, Chuck Connors refused to give up, as most of the movies he also delved into didn't stick around for long too. In the late 60s, spaghetti westerns was the rave, and so Connors decided to also take on those roles even though they weren't big movies like The Rifleman was. Chuck Connors went on to do several other series, after which the best known was Branded, 1965-1966. He played the role of U.S. Cavalry Officer Jason McCord, who was discharged from the service due to a false accusation of cowardice. The show aired for 2 seasons, with each of the 32 episodes having the disgraced captain roaming the West, attempting to redeem his reputation. In the movie Arrest and Trial, which aired between 1963 and 1964, Connors played the role of attorney Jim Egan in the crime drama, co-starring Ben Gazzara and Roger Perry. He also played Jim Sinclair in the short-lived adventure series Cowboy in Africa, 1967-1968. He continued to make film and television appearances, playing recurring characters in several series, including Jeb Hollister in The Yellow Rose, which aired between 1983 and 1984, Janos Skordzany in the movie Werewolf, which aired between 1987 and 1988, and Gideon McKay in the movie Guns of Paradise, which aired between 1989 and 1990. His portrayal of slave owner Tom Moore in the miniseries Roots in 1977 earned Connors an Emmy Award nomination. Connors received a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame on July 18, 1984. In the last days of Connors' life, he made his final appearance on the big screen, where he brought back the legendary character Lucas McCain in the 1991 made-for-TV movie The Gambler Returns the Luck of the Draw, alongside Kenny Rogers. You could just imagine the show of love that was accompanied with the movie release. In an interview with movie guru Leonard Maltin, Chuck Connor was asked if he ever felt bitter about being forever linked to Lucas McCain. Connors quickly shot back that he was anything but bitter. Instead, he expressed pride in being associated with a show that was widely admired and playing a character that fans just couldn't get enough of. If there's anything that Chuck Connors is, he is a truly patriotic American citizen. He had displayed true love for his country ever since he was a teenager. He is always quick to show patriotism to his country without hesitation in any capacity. From the younger days when he enrolled himself in the Army to help America fight in World War II, to when he had the fame and opportunity to meet with lawmen. Connors was a supporter of the Republican Party and attended several fundraisers for campaigns for U.S. President Richard M. Nixon. Connors also backed Barry Goldwater in the 1964 United States presidential election and Gerald Ford in the 1976 presidential election. Although Chuck Connors was not a politician, our favorite actor was a key supporter of the Republican Party and was loud about it. Connors had befriended many heads of state, and he was particularly friendly with former President Ronald Reagan. It was no surprise when he received a personal invitation to attend the inaugural and swearing-in ceremony of President Ronald Reagan. It was learnt that on one occasion, Connors endeared himself to the hearts of the citizens of the United States of America when he led a peaceful parade called Parade America. This came to being when he learned of a public flag burning in New York Central Park. Heartbroken by that act, during the peaceful parade he led, he raised an undefiled flag on the same spot in Central Park. He proceeded to send the flag to General Westmoreland, the commander of U.S. forces in Vietnam, with the slogan, "Pride not protest, devotion not dissent." He was endeared to Leonid Brezhnev, the leader of the Soviet Union. When Leonid Brezhnev met him for the first time, he was extremely warm towards him. Connors served as one of the entourage waiting to receive him and the president. Brezhnev shook Connors' hand and then wrapped his arms around him, lifting the much taller Connors completely off his feet by at least a foot. Connors and Brezhnev had a great relationship that propelled Brezhnev to favor Connors in so many ways. Brezhnev once sent a personalized invitation to Chuck Connors to visit the Soviet leader in Moscow in December 1973. Connors honored the invitation. Imagine being that person that the top men in the countries really love. In fact, at that period, few American television programs were permitted to be broadcast in the Soviet Union at that time. The Rifleman was an exception, because it happened to be Brezhnev's favorite show. What a flex! Chuck Connors spent his last days retrospective and appreciative of the life he had. Unfortunately, Connors was a lifelong smoker and was diagnosed with lung cancer when he came in for the treatment of pneumonia. 3 weeks before his death from lung cancer, he was hospitalized after falling sick with pneumonia. His chronic smoking at his prime greatly affected his health and weakened his immune system. He smoked 3 packs of Camel cigarettes a day until the 1970s, although he was the face of anti-smoking campaigns in the mid-1970s. In a 1987 interview, he confessed that he was still smoking, but claimed to ration himself to only 1 cigarette a day. Though his life and career were well-lived and impactful, many still wished he stayed a little longer. Chuck Connors made the most of the opportunities presented to him. His distinctive physique and voice made him a natural for roles requiring a commanding presence. He also trained himself to constantly breathe depth and nuance to each part he played. Both on and off screen, Chuck Connors was a man of modesty, integrity, and kindness. His memory lives on in the hearts of all who enjoyed his work. His legacy lives on through reruns of The Rifleman, introducing new generations to Lucas McCain, the gentle but formidable widower who taught his young son Mark strong moral values and how to handle a rifle with skill. The show's enduring messages of courage, honor, and morality have allowed it to remain influential and relevant even today. And guess what? Just before he left us, in the year prior, Connors earned his spot in the Hall of Great Western Performers at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. Indeed, he left a lasting legacy in the world of entertainment. Chuck Connors passed on the 10th of November 1992 at the age of 71. His death was announced by his manager. Thanks for watching. While you're still here, check out some more of our videos you see on your screen.